Hey everyone at Liverpool Zone News. Blimey lads, strap yourselves in tight because I've just had me tea spill all over the bleeding kitchen floor. The biggest bomb in football has detonated right under Anfield's nose and it's echoing louder than a Scouser roar on Derby Day. Just came out fresh off the press like a hot pie from the chippy. Liverpool announces the earth-shattering, jaw-dropping, history-rewriting signing of Eduardo Camavinga to boss the midfield like a proper king. This ain't no ordinary transfer, oh no. This is the deal that's gonna make the Premier League tremble, make Europe quake, and send shockwaves through every rival dugout from Manchester to Madrid. Picture this, the young French wizard, barely 23, striding into Merseyside with that cheeky grin, ready to paint the pitch redder than a double-decker bus in rush hour. And get this, you won't believe your ears, he came for free. Aye, gratis, not, zilch, not a single penny forked out in transfer fees because of some contractual wizardry that's got the bean counters at Real Madrid tearing their hair out. But hold your horses, there's more drama than a soap opera on the telly. Secret midnight meetings in dimly lit hotel suites, encrypted phone calls that could rival MI6, pressure from oil-rich clubs waving blank checks like confetti at a wedding, and all lads pulling off the heist of the century. This changes everything, mark my words. The football world will never be the same again. Let's wind the clock back, shall we, to the shaddery underbelly of this monumental coup, because the bastidores, that's Portuguese for the juicy behind-the-scenes bits in it, are pure Hollywood blockbuster material. It all kicked off months ago under the cover of night when whispers started swirling like fog off the Mersey. Our top brass, sly as foxes, arranged clandestine powwows in neutral territories. Think posh London bistros with the curtains drawn, or quick hops across the channel to Paris cafes where no one bats an eyelid at suited men hunched over espressos. Camavinga, fed up with bench warming in a Spanish sun, had a clause in his Real Madrid deal that was expiring like milk left out in the heat. A quirky contractual loophole tied to appearances, minutes played, and some obscure release trigger that activated if certain metas weren't hit. Boom! Our negotiators pounced like a cat on a mouse, triggering that bad boy with precision timing that'd make a Swiss watchmaker jealous. But oh, the tension! Rival clubs were circling like vultures. Manchester City with their bottomless vaults, PSG dangling Eiffel Tower views and endless croissants, even Bayern Munich throwing in sauerkraut and sausages to sweeten the pot. Secret Liga's eyes, phone calls that is, were flying left, right and centre. Burner phones, coded messages, agents sweating bullets in airport lounges. One near miss had a deal almost hijacked by a Saudi outfit offering palaces and camels. But Camavinga, loyal to his dreams of Premier League glory, held firm. Pressure mounted like a storm over the Irish Sea. Deadlines looming, ultimatums flying, fake news leaks designed to derail the train. Imagine the suspense. A final 3 a.m. video call where signatures were scribbled on digital pods, hearts pounding as the clock ticked down to the wire. And then, explosion! Announcement drops, social media erupts, and Anfield's foundations shake. No transfer fee, came for free on contractual technicalities, a masterstroke that's got pundits calling it the steal of the decade. But wait, there's the contract details to drool over. A whopping 5-year deal, locking him in until he's 28, with an option for a 6th if he fancies sticking around like a true red. Salary, peanuts compared to his potential, a modest base of around £150,000 a week, low-ball figures that scream bargain when you factor in his world-class talent, kept hush-hush to avoid inflating the market. Bonuses galore though, signing on fee at 10 million up front, performance incentives that could double his wages,
£50,000 per clean sheet in the league, 100,000 for every 5 assists, a cool £1 million if we lift a Premier League trophy. Clausulas, ironclad, a release class starting at 200 million after year 1, ballooning to 300 million by year 3 to ward off poachers. Metas, tied to everything, must play 70% of minutes to trigger extensions. Team success bonuses like 500,000 for Champions League qualification. Individual awards netting another 250,000 each. And get this, a loyalty clause that voids any buyout if he publicly commits to the club in interviews. Pure genius, theatrical negotiation that had agents from other clubs fuming and phoning their mummies. Now, let's dive deep into the legend of Camavinga herself, because this lad's story is the stuff of fairy tales laced with grit and glory, starting from humble beginnings that'd make you weep into your point. Born in a refugee camp in Angola back in 2002. Yeah, his folks fled the civil war in Congo, landing in France when he was a toddler. Grew up in the tough streets of Rennes, kicking a ball around council estates, discovered at age 11 by scouts who saw raw diamond in the rough. Burst onto the scene with starred Rennes at just 16, Derby in 2019, youngest ever for the club, bossing midfields against grown men twice his size. Titles, grabbed the Ligue A Young Player of the Year in his first full season, then the big move to Real Madrid in 2021 for a then hefty 27 million. At the Bernabeu, he collected silverware like stamps, 2 La Liga titles, 1 Champions League, that magical 2022 run where he came off the bench in the final, 2 Spanish Super Cups, a UEFA Super Cup, and the Club World Cup. Premios, stacks, FIFA U17 World Cup Best Player runner-up, multiple inclusions in the European Team of the Year for breakouts, and Francis Trophy Copa nominee as the world's top under-21. Convocations for the senior France squad started at 17, over 20 caps now, part of the 2022 World Cup runners-up squad where he subbed in during the final against Argentina. And he's been a regular in Nations League triumphs. Style of play? Oh, lads, this is where it gets theatrical. Camavinga is a midfield maestro, a box-to-box dynamo who glides like poetry in motion but hits like a scouse tackle from the 80s idols. Primarily a central midfielder, but versatile enough to slot left-back in emergencies or even defensive mid when the chips are down. Qualitatis technicas, silky touch that could thread a needle in a hurricane, dribbling past 3 men in a phone box, vision to ping 40-yard diagonals that land on a sixpence. Physically, a beast, 6 foot tall, built like a brick outhouse, with legs that power through challenges, acceleration quicker than a Mersey ferry dodging waves, stamina to run for 120 minutes without breaking sweat. Mentally, ice in his veins, reads the game 3 steps ahead, presses like a mad dog, recovers balls higher than anyone, but with the composure of a chess grandmaster under pressure. Puntos Fartis, interception king, averages 3+ per game. Aerial dominance despite his age, 2-footed wizardry, meaning he shoots or crosses with either peg. And that explosive burst to transition from defence to attack in a blink. Fracos, if we're nitpicking, sometimes over-ambitious with risks in his own half, leading to the odd turnover. And he's still polishing his goal scoring, only a handful per season, but when he unleashes those thunderbolts from 25 yards, keepers dive for cover. Comparisons with cracks. He's the modern hybrid of Patrick Vieira's steel and Paul Pogba's flair, with a dash of Steven Gerrard's heart. Remember those Anfield legends from the 80s and 90s, the hard men with the scouse soul who dragged the team through mud and glory? Camavinga channels that same never-say-die spirit, but with French elegance. On the pitch, picture him receiving on the half-turn, shielding with his body like a wall, then exploding forward, evading slides with a cheeky roulette, linking play with one-touch magic, or dropping deep to orchestrate from the back far. He's the engine that revs at 100 miles an hour, the conductor waving his baton in a symphony of chaos. And why did we snag him? Because the midfield needed a supernova to elevate us from contenders to conquerors. This signing catapults the squad to stratospheric levels, plugging any gaps with a player who's ready to dominate now and for a decade. He fits like a glove in the current setup. That youthful energy injects pace and power. His versatility means seamless rotations. His pressing traps opponents like a vice, and his ball progression turns defense into devastating counters. The team ascends, more control in big games, fewer goals conceded from midfield lapses, amplified creativity feeding the